and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and.
This part of the lesson is on the break of the song, and the break is from measures 27 to 30. So make sure you have your sheet music in front of you so that you can follow along. These measures are some fun measures for the drummer because you get to do some tom work and it really stands out. It's kind of like a drum feature, a drum break, even though the other instruments are playing. It starts out with the high crash cymbal in the bass drum on 1, and then we have a 16th note pattern. And now I recommend taking it piece by piece and getting comfortable with each piece before you put another piece onto what you're playing. So let's take just the first piece of count 1, and count 1 is 1, E, and You've got the bass and the high crash. I hit it with my right. 1, E, and So high, low, bass, E, and And I would do that a few times until you're comfortable with it. The second piece would be count 2, and count 2 starts with the snare drum. I use my left stick for that, 2, E, and my right stick, and I also use my right stick to hit the 32nd notes on the So 2, E, and Now in this situation, I am going to count the 32nd notes as 32nd notes. If you remember back to measure 42, I counted them actually like 16th notes. But in this situation, I'm going to count only one count, 1/16th, for the 2 hits, which will be on the 2, E, and Play that through a few times until you become comfortable with that pattern. And then take the first piece and the second piece and put it together. But don't start out too fast. You want to start slow and gradually work up so that you can become comfortable with it. 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and 2 E and One more time. 1 E and 2 E and then we go on to the third piece, which is 3 E and 3 E and starts with a floor tom, and this is the reason why I played those 32nd notes starting with the right stick. So I had the medium tom with the right, and then I also played the 32nd starting with the right, so that my next stick could just flow right, left, right to the low tom on count 3. So the third piece, we have a bass on count 3, 3, E, and I'll do that again slowly. 3, E, and And I would work through that a few times to get comfortable with it. 3, E, and 3, E, and Once you're comfortable with the third piece, try putting it together with the first and the second. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and I'll do it again. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and A little faster. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and The fourth piece is a 4 E and I stick that with my left stick, 4 E, and then I bring my right to the snare and my left on the open hi-hat. So 4 E and 4 E and. One more time. 4 E and. I'm going to put all 4 of those pieces together slowly. Remember to start out slowly and work your speed up. Don't try to play it quickly at first. What's important is that you have good timing and solid beat. Not that you can coordinate the right notes. It's can you play them in time. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. A little faster. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. On to the second measure of the break, measure 28. The rhythmic pattern here, the way you count it, is the same. The only thing that changes, and it doesn't even change that much, is the toms that you're playing. So the pattern is the same, the toms change. The first piece is 1 E and and you've played that before. That was the same as 3 E and in measure 27. 1 E and The second piece, 2 E and is almost the same as 2 E and on measure 27. The difference is where you're hitting the 32nd notes. Now instead of hitting the 32nd notes on the high tom, you're going to hit the 32nd notes on the floor tom. So to sound like this, 2 E and I still use the same sticking. I go right, right, left for the 30-second notes because I'll have another floor tom that I'm going to hit on count 3. So the second piece, count 2, sounds like this. 2 E and 2 E and The third piece, 3 E and is the same as 1 E and 3 E and 3 E and and 4 E and is the same as 4 E and from measure 27. 4 E and I stick that the same way, left, and then I move my right over to the snare. 4 E and. The next measure, measure 29. I love when I see one of these. It's a measure repeat. It means to play the same thing you just played. From a learning perspective, that's really easy. Just play the same thing over again. I'm going to put the first 3 measures together slowly. That's measures 27, 28, and 29. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. On to the fourth measure, measure number 30. 1 E and is the same as the 1 E and from the previous measure. 1 E and 1 E and 2 E and is a little different. Instead of just having the snare on count 2, now you're also going to have a crash. I recommend using your right stick for the snare and left for the crash. 2. After 2, you have a bass drum, E and So that whole piece there, count 2, 2 E and 2 E and That's the high tom. 2 E and The third piece starts with the floor tom or the low tom. 3 E and. Now your snare and crash are on the and I still use my right stick for the snare and left for the crash. 3 E and. The of 3 there is a bass drum, but attached to that is a snare drum, which is a 32nd note. So count is actually going to be a bass drum and a snare drum. It's easier to think of that count along with count 4. So I can just lead right into the second snare drum. 4. 4. Because there's 2 in a row. Count 4 starts with the snare drum. 4. I'm going to play all of count 3 slowly, including the first snare of count 4. 3 E and 4. 3 E and 4. On to count 4. We've already played the snare drum on count 4. The next one is actually an E on the high tom. These aren't 32nd notes anymore. They only have 2 beams connected to the stems. So you have 4 E, but on counts and these are 32nd notes. You're going to have 2 hits per count, and it's medium and low tom. And So the fourth piece there is 4 E and 4 E and I'm going to play just the third and fourth piece a couple times for you. That's 3 E and 4 E and so you can get a feel for what that sounds like. 3 E and 4 E and 3 E and 4 E and a little slower. 3 E and 4 E and I'm going to play that whole break, measures 27 to 30 for you, along with the metronome at a regular tempo, and then I'm going to play it at a slower tempo.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4